President Trump calls them suppression polls, the endless surveys the liberal media puts out there showing how the support for this administration is in the toilet. It's meant to demoralize his base. It didn't in 2016 and it won't in 2020. The polls were wrong. Right now, 2020 general election polling is trash. It's worthless. It's way too early. Everyone knows that, and even some Democrats would admit that they're not going to win by a 9-point of double-digit margin next year. If anything, the media just reminds Trump voters that they need to vote next year. In the meantime, the Democratic Party has a three-way race at the top for the 2020 nomination between former Vice President Joe Biden, Sen. Elizabeth Warren, DMA, and Senator Bernie Sanders. There are at least a dozen more running and still, anything can happen. Senator Kamala Harris, DCA, had a strong showing in the first round of debates. She gained attention, and then some looked at her record. She has dropped 12 points in the latest Democratic candidate polls. Biden has been bashed, he's a gaffe machine right now. President Obama's record was also torched during the second rounds of debates on CNN, which raised eyebrows. Beating up the most popular Democrat in recent memory will get you the nomination? Nope. As the left continues to slash, punch, stab, and shoot one another in the primaries, the Trump White House has been running what is essentially a general election campaign. The war chests are being stuffed, the RNC is raking in cash, and he's holding rallies in key swing states. Yes, this is what Obama did in 2012, and Democrats know it. Members of the Democratic National Committee spoke with the Daily Beast who voiced their concerns. Panic could be aptly applied to what they said, especially about how there's a feeling that Trump is beating them on all fronts. There's also some frustration about Chair Tom Perez continuing to ignore Rust Belt voters. Overall, it's this fear that the Trump team is already reaching swing voters, while the Democrats are just content with their base. Via Daily Beast, Jim Zogby, who co-chairs the DNC's Ethnic Council, a group that represents people across different ethnic, racial, national origin, and religious identities, says he has been pushing Perez and other party leaders to expand its outreach to voters in the same areas that Trump successfully captured: Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and, a Democratic sore spot in post-2016 politics, Wisconsin. But that outreach to the committee has fallen on deaf ears. In Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, if we do events in those states that focuses on everyone else but them, that breeds resentment, Zogby said. That's why, former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Bernie Sanders IVT do well, because they talk to those folks. Zogby was specifically referencing voters from Irish, Italian, Polish, Eastern Central European, Arab, and Armenian American communities highly concentrated in the Midwest. I am frustrated beyond belief at the sheer neglect of the constituencies I represent, he added. Zogby's chief concern, raised by several other current DNC members who spoke with the Daily Beast, is that the Trump campaign is already reaching swing voters while the Democratic Party is overwhelmingly focused on expanding their existing base. Donald Trump is in general election mode while we're still in primary mode. We see it in Ohio, David Pepper, who chairs the state's Democratic Party, said. He's absolutely carpet-bombing Ohio online. We're doing our best to respond, a DNC official directly familiar with battleground states' efforts suggested. All the messaging hasn't trickled down to much action on the ground level yet. There's some deep concerns brewing under the surface, nothing that's spilled into the public yet, the member said. Where's all the support? They keep talking about the calories coming. People generally are feeling Trump is beating us on all fronts right now. The National Party's fundraising woes continue to present a problem when up against the Republican National Committee and the Trump campaign's significant advantage, multiple members said. The DNC is cash-strapped right now, one member said plainly. In June, the Republican National Committee more than doubled the DNC's fundraising haul, totaling $20.7 million to $8.5 million, respectively. Now, that's good news, but Trump and his team cannot let up. Keep doing what you're doing. Democrats are motivated. They want to boot him from office. Yet, the GOP has an awesome opportunity to define the Democratic Party and their 2020 nominee eons before they can. Given the debates thus far, they're a party that supports gun confiscation, more taxes, more regulations, taxpayer-funded abortion virtually up until the moment of birth, health care for illegal aliens, open borders, and the destruction of private health insurance. That's the only way that Medicare for All can work. The issue where they dominated the GOP in terms of trust with voters, health care, could have been a lethal tool in the 2020 messaging wars. Now, that's dead. It's a debate about whether to nuke 100+ million employer-based health plans now or later, with the added bonus of instituting the mother of all tax increases for the middle class to help pay for it. Trump has 3+ million jobs, economic growth, bigger paychecks, lower taxes, less regulation, and small business and consumer confidence levels reaching their highest marks in years. It's not a hard choice next year. Let's block ads. Why?